Hello and welcome, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for this explainer. Today, we're exploring the life and the mind of one of Indian history's absolute greatest philosophers, spiritual guides, and honestly, cultural architects, Adi Shankaracharya. We're going to break down some incredibly profound ideas today, but we're going to make these vast, timeless concepts totally accessible. So, whether you're deeply familiar with Indian philosophy or you're entirely new to it, get ready because you might just see the world a little differently by the end of this.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Are you and this universe the same? I mean, it sounds like a paradox, doesn't it? As we walk around in our daily lives, we feel very separate from the trees, the stars, the ocean, the people around us. You are you, and everything else is, well, everything else. But what if that separation is just an illusion? What if, at the most fundamental level of reality, you and the infinite universe are exactly the same thing? This kind of mind-bending question is the absolute perfect primer for the concept of non-dualism, which is really the bedrock of the philosophy we're exploring today.
Section 1. An era of confusion. To really appreciate how revolutionary this idea was, we have to travel back to 8th century India. Every great philosophy is born as a solution to a massive problem.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the contrast. Before Adi Shankar came along, the spiritual landscape of India was incredibly fractured. We're talking deep religious differences, heavy, complicated rituals, and just general philosophical confusion. The core truth had kind of been lost in all the noise. But Shankara ultimately delivered the exact opposite: profound spiritual unity and a crystal clear path to self-realization. He basically took a fragmented society and gave it a unified philosophical spine. So how did he actually do it?
Section 2. Prodigy Shankara's Journey. This monumental shift from confusion to unity wasn't brought about by an army or an emperor, but by the arrival of an absolutely extraordinary child.
Let's trace this incredible timeline. Born in the 8th century to Shivaguru and Aryamba down in Kaladi, Kerala, Shankara was a prodigy in the truest sense of the word. We're talking about a child with exceptional intelligence and an intense, burning spiritual curiosity. I mean, while other kids were simply playing, he was already mastering the Vedas, the Upanishads, and massive volumes of complex scriptures. By his youth, he had already taken sannyasa, committing his entire life to renunciation and the pursuit of truth. Shortly after that, he meets his master, Guru Govinda Bhagavad Pada. It is a rapid, breathtaking ascent from a curious child to a dedicated monk, and it all happens in the blink of an eye.
Section 3. Understanding Advaita Vedanta. All right, I'm going to actually slow the pacing down right here because we've reached the absolute core of our explainer. This is the ultimate paradigm shift. All of Shankara's early mastery culminated in his greatest contribution to the world.
So the crucial point is summarized in this famous Sanskrit phrase, Brahma Satyam Jaganmithya Jivo Brahmeva Napara. Now, what does this beautiful phrase actually mean? It translates to Brahman, which is the ultimate infinite reality, is the only absolute truth. The world as we perceive it through our limited everyday senses is an illusion, or mithya. And most importantly, the individual soul is not different from Brahman, it is its very form. Let's break that down even further so it becomes perfectly clear.
The term itself is Advaita. A means not, and Dvaita means two. So literally, not two, or non-dualism. It's the philosophy that your individual soul, the Jivatma, and the ultimate supreme soul of the universe, the Paramatma, are not two different things. For a beginner, I know, this can be a heavy concept. We are so used to thinking of God or the Supreme as something way up there, and ourselves as something tiny way down here. Advaita says, no, that separation, it's an illusion. You are made of the exact same ultimate truth. To really lock this concept into our minds, let's look at a couple of brilliant analogies. And this brilliantly illustrates it. Imagine a vast, endless ocean. Now imagine a single drop of water splashing up from that ocean. If you look at them purely by their shape or size, they seem entirely different, right? One is infinite and powerful, the other is tiny and delicate. But what happens if you analyze what they actually are? They are both H2O. They share the exact same fundamental essence. In this analogy, the ocean is the supreme soul, and the drop of water is your individual soul. You might look small and separate, but your core essence is literally the ocean itself.
Let's cement this with one more analogy. Think about walking into a jewelry store. You see rings, bracelets, necklaces, earrings. They all have different names, different shapes, different functions. A ring does not look like a necklace. But if you melt them down, what do you actually have? You just have gold. The ringness or necklaceness is just a temporary form.
Imagine a ring having an ego and thinking it's somehow better than a bracelet. In reality, the fundamental, absolute truth is simply gold. Advaita philosophy tells us that you, me, the trees, the stars, we're just bracelets and rings. We look different, but our fundamental reality is exactly the same, gold.
Section 4. Four Matas, One India. Now, once Adi Shankara realized this incredible unifying truth, he didn't just sit in the cave and keep it to himself. He took massive action to institutionalize this unity across the vast geography of India.
He literally embarked on an unbelievable journey on foot across the entire Indian subcontinent. Along the way, he engaged in spirited, intellectual debates with leading scholars, spreading the logic of Advaita. And to ensure this spiritual unity survived the test of time, he established 4 major monastic centers, or mathas, in the 4 corners of India. You've got Jyotir Math in the north, Sringeri Sharda Pitham in the south, Govardhan Math in the east, and Dwarka Sharda Pith in the west. By creating this geographical diamond, he culturally and spiritually united the Indian tradition, essentially building a network to protect and organize these teachings for centuries to come.
Section 5. Immortal Teachings and Legacy. Let's move to and see how this builds into his enduring legacy. Aside from the physical institutions, Shankara left behind a massive body of brilliant written commentaries on the deepest spiritual texts, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Brahma Sutras. Let's summarize the key takeaways from all of this incredible work.
So here are his 5 core teachings. 1. The soul and supreme soul are one. We covered that with the ocean and gold analogies. 2. Knowledge is the ultimate path to liberation or moksha. 3. Ignorance is the root of sorrow and bondage. 4. Seeking truth is life's highest purpose. And 5. The true essence of dharma or righteous duty is self-realization. Now, I really want you to focus on point number 3 for a second. Ignorance is the root of sorrow. Think about our modern world today. So much of our anxiety, our feeling of being lost or disconnected, comes from this exact ignorance. We feel isolated because we think we're just a tiny, separate drop of water facing a hostile universe. Shankara is telling us that if we overcome this ignorance and realize we are the ocean, that sorrow and bondage absolutely disappear. That is the incredible so what of this ancient philosophy applied directly to your life right now.
Which brings us to a final question I want to leave you with today. Shankara taught that the search for truth is life's absolute highest purpose. He spent his brief but incredibly impactful life relentlessly pursuing and sharing that truth, and he fundamentally changed the spiritual landscape of humanity in the process. So, take a moment to reflect on your own journey. What is your search? Are you looking for the temporary shapes of rings and bracelets? Or are you looking for the gold? I really hope this explainer has sparked a bit of that same spiritual curiosity in you today. Thank you so much for joining me, for exploring these ideas with me, and I encourage you to keep exploring the vast ocean of your own potential.